Students, under the chapter Neural Control and Coordination, we will discuss here about the human eye. So, by this figure, we can understand the structure of the human eye, and this is the longitudinal section of the human eye. So, we can see that the human eye is made up of three layers. So the outer layer is called sclera, middle is called choroid, and the inner is called retina. So all three layers make the human eye. And the sclera in, in the frontal side will be called as cornea. So we can see here, there is the cornea. So when we are talking about the human eye, so when we will move from the forward side to the deepest side, then the first thing comes is the cornea, and above the cornea there is also a membrane which is called as conjunctiva. So the conjunctiva, then cornea, then there is a space, and after that space a biconvex lens is there, and after this lens there is a chamber, and this chamber is surfaced by, or we can say layered by, the retina. And we can see here that there are two spots on the retina. One is called fovea centralis, and another part is called optic disc or blind spot. And we can see here that this is the space through which the blood vessel and optic nerve run. So the same thing we can see here also, as there is the cornea. After that, there is a space or chamber. This chamber is called aqueous chamber, and it is filled with a liquid which is called as aqueous humor. And after that, there is a lens, and after the lens there is again a chamber which is called vitreous humor, and it is also filled with a liquid. Now we can see that this is this is one of the structure which is present in the human eye and present in the first chamber. So this structure is called iris, and iris, and we can see here ciliary body also. So this iris is making an aperture through which the lens is placed, and we can say that this this iris is the structure which is present between this cornea and this lens, and this iris makes a an aperture. This aperture is called pupil. So we will again repeat the same thing, as the first layer, or we can say the outer layer, is called sclera. The second layer is called choroid, and it is very important to notice that it contains blood vessels. So choroid contains blood vessels, or we can say it is a vascular structure. And the innermost layer is called retina. This retina is one of the most important structure of the eye. So it is composed of three layers: photoreceptor cells, bipolar nerve, and ganglion. So all these three layers are composing retina. And we can see here that the photoreceptors can be of two types. One is rod, and the second is cone. It means the photoreceptor is made up of rods and cones. Now we will move forward. So here in this slide we will discuss about the photoreceptor cells. So by this slide we can see that the photoreceptor cells contains the light sensitive protein, and these light sensitive protein receive the light. And when we are talking about the type of cells, so there are two types of photoreceptor cells. One is called rod cells and another is called cone cells. So both of the types of these receptors are having different functions, such as we can see here that these rods are uh, designed, or we can say have been given a work to see the things in night. So it controls the light on retina. It means when we see something, or we can say that when we are seeing some object, then we need two things. One thing is color and another thing is light. So rods are the type of cells which contains the purple red protein which is called rhodopsin, and these rhodopsin is the derivative of vitamin A, and these rod cells just receive the light. So what happens in most of the nocturnal animals, they have only rod cells just because they need to see in dark. And when we are talking about those animals which are we can say their daily activities are in daytime, then they will have less rod cells or no rod cells. Now we will talk about cones. So these are the receptors. They receive the color. We can say this is for the color vision, and the rods are for the light. Now for the cones, these cones contain three types of cones, and they contain different photopigments, and they respond to only three colors. Means human eye can respond to only three colors: red, blue, and green. And what happens, uh, we see different colors by the combination of all these three colors. Means when we will see some colors, then that color is the make this that color would be the combination of red, blue, and green color. So it has been written a fact. Here we can see this fact that different combination of light make different receiving of receptors of these three cones make different color vision. So I told you that what happens, these three cones are of again three types. They receive red color, blue color, and green color. So three types of cones are there. They will receive the light, and on the basis of the intensity of different color, different all different of different intensity of red color, different intensity of blue color, different intensity of green color, we used to see different mode colors. Now we can say that the equal combination of these three colors make white light. Means when all these three cones are saturated, so we used to see white light. And when what happens, when all these cones, three color three colored cones are less induced, then we used to see black color. Now we will talk about the blind spot as we had seen here. We will talk about this blind spot and fovea centralis. So we have seen already here, this is the fovea centralis and this is the blind spot. So there is some detail about these spots. So blind spots are the spots on retina where no photoreceptor is present. So on retina where photoreceptors are absent will be called as blind spot, and the fovea centralis is a yellow pigment spot which is also called as macula lutea with a central pit, and it is a very thin portion of the retina, and only cones are present here. Means here the density of the cones will be so much more, and here the visual activity will be greatest, or we can say here the resolution will be maximum. So we can see here again that this fovea centralis will have most dense cone population of the cells, and they used to receive most of the colors, and it is very important structure for the maximum resolution. However, on the other hand, this is the blind spot where no photoreceptor is Now we will talk about the chamber. So I have already told that there are two chambers, aqueous chambers and vitreous chamber. So aqueous chamber is the chamber which is present between this lens and the cornea, and the vitreous chamber is present between the lens and retina. So here first we will discuss about the aqueous chamber. So the aqueous chamber is filled with thin watery fluid. However, the vitreous chamber is filled with transparent fluid. Now we will see the mechanism of vision. So what happens? We will discuss here one by one. So what happens when visible light falls on the rods and cone, and as we know that these rods and cones are present on retina, they generate a potential difference. So how uh, it will be induced, or how the potential difference will be created? So we can see here this potential difference is created by dissociation of retinal from opsin. And what is retinal? Retinal is the aldehyde of vitamin A, and opsin is a protein. So what happens when visible light falls on the rod and cone? Then a potential difference is created by the dissociation of retinal and opsin. So this this creates a change in opsin, and it changes the membrane permeability. So we have already seen how the potential difference is created by the changing of the permeability of the nerve cells, and now we can see here the potential difference is generated on photoreceptor cells, and these photoreceptor cells uh, will produce a action potential on in ganglion through bipolar cells, and through optic nerves it will be the signal will be sent to the visual cortex area of the brain, and where we can interpret the image. So by this the step by step process we used to see the things. So we can see here the details of the eyeball. So there are some facts, as I have already told, that sclera is the outermost layer, and outer portion, or we can say the frontal portion of the sclera is called cornea. Now we will talk about the choroid membrane, and the choroid is the middle portion or middle layer of the eye, and it contains the blood vessel, and these are bluish in color. These are thin over the posterior end and thick over the anterior end. So there is the difference in thickness. So what happens at the posterior end? It will be thin, and on anterior end it will be thick. And at anterior end, when it becomes thick, it forms the ciliary body. So we can see here that there is the ciliary body in this structure. We can see here this choroid is making ciliary body. So it is now becoming thick. This ciliary body contains contains, or we can say holds, the lens. So what happens? It holds the biconvex lens of the human eye, and it continues forward to form a pigmented and opaque structure called iris, and it forms a colored part of eye. So as we see the colored part of eye, when we are talking about the color of eyes, some of the people are having black colored eye, some of the people are having blue and brown color of eye. So that this color is nothing but the color of iris only. Now as we know that retina is the innermost part or layer of the eye. Now we will talk about the lens. So lens is the transparent crystalline structure. Now I'll zoom it so that you can see it easily. So lens is the transparent crystalline structure and held by ligament called to ciliary body. So it will be held by the ciliary body, all I have already told. And in front of lens, opaque aperture, or we can say the opaque aperture we can see is called pupil. So I have already discussed it. And the diameter of the pupil is regulated by the muscles of the iris. So by this structure we can see that how our eye controls the amount of light in our eye. So what happens? I told you this is the aperture. This aperture is known as pupil, and this aperture is formed by these iris. So what happens? So when we see the things, so light comes on retina through this lens, and on lens it comes through this pupil. And when we used to see the things or objects in bright light, then this pupil will have less diameter. And when we used to see the things or objects in dark light, then it dilates. It means the diameter of pupil will be more, and it is controlled by the contraction and the relaxation of muscles present into the iris. It means iris is the structure which makes an aperture through which light enters into the eye. So, uh, as per the requirement, the muscles present into the iris will be contracted and relaxed, and it will continuously change the diameter of this aperture, which is called as pupil. And the ciliary ligament is also made up of these choroid layer, and this ciliary body or ciliary ligament holds the lens, and it controls, or we can say uh, it changes the curvature of lens. So when we used to see the things which are present nearby to your eye, and some of the things would be far apart to your eye, so the curvature will be changed. So the changing of the curvature will be taken place by the ciliary body or ciliary ligament. Thank you.